Why, hello there everyone. I'm Laxow, aka the Kumo Sensei. 皆さん、おはようございます。よろしくお願いします。And good morning everyone. And I do apologize for this video being late, but it was the holiday season. I was super busy. I had a lot of things I had to do, but now that I'm back, let us get into it. So I'm doing some MOLT updates today, and I do want to show you this one here because this one is pretty surprising. And this right here is my Brachypelma hamorii, also known as the Mexican red-knee tarantula, which is a hobby staple when it comes to tarantulas. And this male has molted out, but surprisingly, he's not mature yet. So I thought this guy was penultimate, but he molted again, and he's not mature. So this guy is going to be a relatively, he's going to be a big boy once he matures out. And originally, I did want to breed him, but I don't know. Due to the hobby and how much people breed this species, they are readily available here in the United States, so I don't want to saturate the market too much with this species, so I'm thinking about selling this male away once he matures out. And I do know I could get some females and just pair this species myself and produce some slings, and I think I could find them some places to go to because I'm a wholesaler, a supplier, and I have my business, Laxow Legacy LLC. But the one thing that is really holding me back from actually breeding the species is their sac numbers. So my space is limited because I'm really just keeping tarantulas in my room, which is a very small room, so there's not a lot of space to keep a lot of slings. And Brachypelmas are known for having large sac numbers. We're talking anywhere like 300 or more slings. So while I am confident of actually taking care of 300 or more slings because, I'm a tarantula breeder, the problem is just space because I wouldn't have anywhere to put them, and that's really the main reason why I'm thinking of just selling this male away instead of breeding him. And I know some people are asking why don't I just do it alone, but still, I wouldn't really have enough space because the projects I want to pursue will take up that space. It's really just up in the air, honestly. If this male matures out at a time where I do have space for a pairing, maybe I'll consider, but I would like to know what everyone would think. Acquire a female and set up this breeding project, or should I sell this male away to a breeder who needs this male? It's really just situational at this point when this guy matures. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I'm leaning more towards just selling him. But it's not final yet, and who knows, maybe I'll have space by then. Now I will actually measure this most recent molt because I am curious to see how large this molt is. It's just so I can have a basic understanding on how large this male is and maybe understand how many more molts he has left. Now I do think this male is penultimate now, but it's really up in the air because I thought he was penultimate his last molt and he molted out again and he's still not mature. So this male was actually hatched out in 2018, so he's currently 6 years old. He'll be turning 7 years old once we hit 2025. And trust me, 6 to 7 years flies by like it was yesterday. I actually remember getting this sling, or this male as a sling, back in 2018. He was a second instar, and he was very, very small. I'd say he was lesser than a centimeter in lifespan. And that was essentially how small this guy was. Him, his sister, and his brother. I did got 3 specimens that were sac mates. His brother is a bit smaller than him. I'd say he's around 4 inches, or 10 centimeters about. And his sister, she's the smallest of the bunch. I'd say she's a little bit under 4 inches or a little bit under 10 centimeters. And it's honestly surprising how after 6 to 7 years, they're still not mature. But this species is known for growing relatively slow. That's pretty much the price you gotta pay. But that's also kind of the beauty of the species. You really get time to actually enjoy having them. Now let us actually jump to the next species. And this right here is the Chilobrachys natanicharum, also known as the electric blue tarantula. And this right here is a male of mine that finally molted out, and he's now a mature male. Now I couldn't really get a good recording of this guy because he was really reclusive, and I also really didn't want to bother him too much because he just recently molted out, so he's a bit tired. So I decided to just, try my best to actually get a good recording of him from the back, and you can kind of see his legs. And that is basically the best I could get of this guy's recording. I will show you the female because one of my females has molted out as well. And trust me, her footage is much better than this male's here. But this male, you're just going to have to do with what you got. Now I will actually take this molt out and I will measure this molt because I am curious to see how much he jumped in lifespan. Because this male did have a brother and his brother did mature out earlier than he did. So I was actually very curious and I decided to measure this molt as well. Now just by looking at this male, I'd say he's leggier than his brother. Now I'm not too sure if I would say he's bigger than his brother, but he is leggier. And some of you may be wondering, what am I going to do with this male? And the answer is very simple. This male here is going to be a holdback, and I am going to be using this male to breed with my female. This male here is going to stay, but we do got to give this male some time to actually, recuperate, harden up from his most recent molt, and then we gotta wait for a sperm web, and then I can utilize him. As for how long it'll take, it's up in airs, but you can't really rush a male, because when it comes to my males and breeding, I really just like to let them take their time. Sometimes it could take weeks, months, but really, a male will do what he has to do when he's ready. And I know some tarantula breeders, they get a bit impatient or they can get a bit desperate because they really want to breed their females because they just can't wait, or sometimes the females may be later into the molt cycles, so breeders would like to try to breed their females as soon as possible. But for me personally, I just like to give my males the time they need. But talking back into this molt measure around 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters in leg span. And this male is going to be a future breeder for my projects. But I would actually like to jump to my female specimen, my female Chilobrachys natanicharum, and this one here is a female, and I will actually show her because she is out and visible for us to see, and she looks amazing. Her blues are becoming more electric than ever, and this female is of breedable size, so I will consider pairing this female, but let us wait and see, because I don't want to pair a million females. I really would like to focus on one female at a time, so that way the care and attention to detail is more perfect, just so I can get a good egg-sac. Now when it comes to this female's last molt, I believe it was 4 inches and 3/4 of an inch, so 4.75 inches or about 12 centimeters. Now some people have asked me, what is a breedable size for a female? It really depends on the species and if her spermatheca is fully developed. Now when it comes to breedable size, that is something that is really debatable and something that is different among tarantula breeders. Some will say 60% of their adult size, others will say 75% of their adult size, so it's really a subjective topic, so I don't really want to dive too much into that. But as for this female, she is a mature female, so I'm super excited to see what I'll do with her. So when it comes to the species, I remember when the slings were around $125 for a second instar sling here in the United States for this species, and then I remember them dropping to $85, and then to $75, and currently they're around $35 to $50 here in the United States, and I do believe they can go down lower. I'd say at some point, maybe they'll get to around $20 to $25 per sling. So breeding this species here in the United States is totally worth it. More captive bred specimens here in the United States, and also lower prices because there's more in the market that meets the demand. So to me at least, I think this species is totally worth breeding. And I also do think that it should apply to all the Chilobrachys in their entire genus because there's a lot of undescribed species and a lot of unique localities of Chilobrachys that are in the hobby, and I think that all should be established even if they are the same species within some localities, because I will tell you that Chilobrachys has a lot of undescribed species which are pretty much labeled as their localities of where they're collected from, such as Chilobrachys utaitani orange, Chilobrachys Catian, Chilobrachys Aladdin, Chilobrachys Sauraburi, and there's really a lot of undescribed Chilobrachys, so people just put them under the locality. And are they the same species? They could be, but no one really knows because a lot of Chilobrachys come from Southeast Asia, and Southeast Asia is very compact when it comes to their Asian species. So as of now, we treat all of those Chilobrachys that are undescribed and their localities as essentially separate species. But I would like to know what everybody thinks about Chilobrachys overall as a genus, and also what specific species or locality do you like. As for me, I do like the Chilobrachys South Thailand. I think they look pretty cool, and some people do speculate that it's probably just Chilobrachys discolus, but honestly we should be keeping them as separate species until they're properly described. But as of now, definitely keep the localities separate just to be safe and just to prevent mix-ups. But let us not get sidetracked and let us jump right back into the Chilobrachys natanicharum. So this is actually the species I'm very hyped up to actually breed for this year, or 2025 that is, and I'm hoping that I'll be successful. because I did do a pairing attempt here on the channel way back when. I think it was a couple of years ago now, and it wasn't successful, but I'm hoping that this time around I will be able to get a good pairing and hopefully a good sack, but I'm always prepared for the worst. But luckily this time around I have more females and another additional male. So 2 males is a blessing, and I wish I could have more males honestly, but I take what I can get, and I'm just truly grateful and truly thankful for having everything I have. And I will actually take that feeling into 2025 as well. And I also do personally hope that everyone had a great Christmas, because I'll tell you, I had a great Christmas and I was also very busy. And I really do hope everybody a good one, and if not, let us hope that 2025 will bring us something better. And I do want to talk about upload schedules, and yeah, it's pretty obvious that my videos have been late, but please understand that around this time of season, my workload is very heavy and a lot. But I do believe that once March comes back around, I should be able to upload on Tuesdays and Fridays again, but it's gonna go back to like how it originally was supposed to be planned, with Tuesdays videos being more shorter than Fridays videos. Let us wait and see, right? It could be longer, or it could be just like how it was back in the good old days when I started uploading on Tuesdays and Fridays. So March is the month where I'm expecting the uploads to go back to being on Tuesdays and Fridays, with Tuesday's videos focusing more on the shorter aspect between 3 to 5 minutes, and with Friday's videos being 5 minutes or more, like how it originally was when I started uploading twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. But anything can happen, and I don't want to make promises, but I would try though. And I guess I'll call this a video for today. So, as the typical, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to stick around, and also support me on my social medias such as my IG and Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members for keeping my tarantulas fed and helping the channel go on. And with that, stay lax and Laxow out from the Kumo Sensei.